talking about mastering the cash flow of your business. I'm Bob DePasquale from Initiate Impact Virtual Family Offices, where we love helping entrepreneurs build beautiful businesses so they can be as generous as possible. And cash flow is essential to weathering those storms that are unexpected in your business, investing in growth, and obviously handling your operational expenses. A simple definition of cash flow is money moving into and out of your business, something that you definitely want to keep track of. There are three types of cash flow, and the first kind is operating cash flow, and that's generated from things like sales and payments. The second is from investing cash flow, and that's from things like capital expenditures where you might acquire assets or sell them. The third type is financing cash flow, and that relates to debt, either debt that you've issued or debt that you owe and are making payments on. Now let's talk about the importance of cash flow management, and I have 4 points for you. Number one is operational stability. Maintaining a positive cash flow is essential so you can operate the business. Number two, business growth and investments. This gives you a chance to actually grow the business so you can think strategically about how to allocate your capital. Number three, and I alluded to those unexpected situations, and this is risk management. What are you going to do when something comes up? Hopefully you have positive cash flow so that you have assets to use to cover that expense. Number four also relates to something I've mentioned, and that's debt. And it also includes creditworthiness. You want to have the cash flow to pay the debt, but you also want to have good cash flow so you can have creditworthiness that will enable you to get a loan. Let's move into some common cash flow challenges. There's three here, and the first one is seasonality. Some businesses are very seasonal, so you have to be careful so you know when the money is expected to come in, because there will be those dry times. The second is about accounts receivable and payable. Now there will be times that payments may be delayed, and if your accounts receivable and payable are not up to date, you might find a time where you're cash strapped. So be careful and make sure you have solid policies for collecting. Number three, inventory management. Be careful here. Depending on your product or service, you don't want to get caught in a bind where you have to buy extra products and you don't have the cash flow to do it. Now I have some strategies for optimizing your cash flow. The first is to do some cash flow forecasting. You want to anticipate future inflows and outflows to help you predict what to expect in the business. Number two, streamlining accounts receivable. I've already talked about the accounts receivable, but this is so important. Have a simple process. Make sure everyone understands clear expectations. And then another idea is to give some incentive for making early payments. Number three is managing accounts payable, or the flip side of that. Make sure that you understand what you owe and take advantage of those early payment opportunities if they're there. Number four is expense control, and this one's important because if you have a mature business, you may have expenses that you don't even realize that you've had for quite a long time. So make sure you review these things periodically. Number five, inventory optimization. Make sure you know the trends in your industry, and there's a term called just-in-time inventory management. Consider using this to make sure that the timing is best as possible and your cash flow is optimized. Number six is capital expenditure planning. I touched on that a little bit earlier in the video here, but you want to understand where your capital expenditures are going to come from and plan them out. Look for opportunities, and if you have the right cash flow management system, you'll be able to take advantage of them. Number seven, and certainly not the least of the seven, maybe the most important, is building cash reserves, especially if you don't have them. But if you do, maintain them and have the systems in place to check on it if something happens. And the last section of the video is utilizing technology and tools. At Initiate Impact, we love technology, so this one is important to us. The first point in this section is that leveraging technology can streamline your cash flow management. There's so many great tools out there that can make this job much easier. Number two is accounting software specifically. This can really help you make projections, look at your business from the inside out, and understand how the cash flow management is working so that you can make adjustments if needed. Number three, cash flow management apps. Now they could be linked to that accounting software or they could be on their own, but use these, take advantage of them. So if you're on the road and you're traveling or you need to make a quick check, you can just pull out your device and check the app. Number four, electronic payment solutions. There's so many great ways to collect these days, and that will help you handle some of those issues with accounts receivable that I mentioned before. People can make payment right away. In conclusion, managing your cash flow is a vital part of your business. It increases growth opportunities, it avoids catastrophes, and ultimately just helps you run a better business on the day-to-day. At Initiate Impact, we love helping business families manage their cash flow so that they can be as generous as possible as a result of an impactful and successful business. Have a generous rest of your day.